I'm Ken Efseroff, and you are watching New to the Street, coming to you from 42nd Street, right in the middle of Manhattan. Joining me right now is Dr. Wayne Danter. He's the CEO of Canada-based Critical Outcome Technology. Mr. Danter, thanks for joining us here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for the opportunity.
Our pleasure. So talk to me about Critical Outcome Technologies. What do you guys do?
Sure. So we're a bioinformatics company that is currently focused in the pharmaceutical space, specifically in drug discovery. We use artificial intelligence, machine learning approaches to big data problems, and create computer simulations of biological systems. And we use those systems to help us identify the right molecules to develop.
When we're talking about biological systems, what exactly do we mean to the average person?
Sure. So we could mean a cellular test, or we could mean an enzyme test, or we could mean an animal model. So the typical tests that are requested by the FDA prior to a new chemical entity going into phase 1.
What is the space like for this type of test and the technology that you guys use? Is it a crowded space?
In terms of what we're trying to do, no. We're our biggest competitors, the traditional approach to drug discovery, which takes a lot longer and costs a lot more money than our approach. There are only very few companies now in North America and in Europe that are trying to do the same thing that we're doing.
How is it advantageous to use critical outcomes technology versus anything else that's on the market?
Okay, we can get from the concept stage to synthesis of potential candidates in 90 days. So 3 months from concept, we're making molecules to test. And that's because the vast majority of the traditional trial and error part of drug discovery is done in computer simulations. Perhaps a very simple way of viewing what we do is to apply the filters or the criteria that the FDA and Health Canada are looking for when they're trying to decide whether a molecule is safe enough to give to people. So we do most of that in computer simulations.
Now, is it easier to work with your technology in Canada and other parts of the world versus the United States? How has it been to try and do business here?
Well, I'm a proud Canadian, but the truth is that our story has resonated much more here in the U.S. I think that the U.S. enjoys our type of story and is very knowledgeable in this space. So I think when it comes to knowledgeable, experienced investors, I think the United States is the place to be with our technology.
Now in Canada, it's a nationalized system when it comes to healthcare, right?
Yes, it is. That's right.
And what is that like for your company and the technology and what you guys need to do for a country there versus the United States? Is the United States more wide open?
The truth is it doesn't have any impact really on us in terms of the product. If it was approved by Health Canada, then each of the provinces would decide whether or not they would put it on the provincial formulary. The United States would be much more sort of commercially oriented than perhaps Canada is.
Now, how is Critical Outcome Technology doing from a fiscal standpoint? Are you guys turning a profit? How is it going in 2014, and what do you see going ahead?
To this point, we do have a small amount of revenue, but it's probably fair to consider us pre-revenue. And 2014 is a big year for us. We're moving to the United States. We've got a U.S. IR firm, a U.S. bank, Maxim Capital, and we'll be listed on a U.S. exchange shortly. I anticipate that the company is going to put down a footprint in the Northeast, somewhere between New York and Boston, most likely. And our biggest milestone for the coming year is to get our lead asset, CAUTI-2, into clinical trial by the end of this year.
Tell me about the lead asset.
So CAUTI-2 is a very important compound. It's currently at MD Anderson in Houston, Texas, being developed there with our colleagues in obstetric or in the cancer field in Houston, and we're looking at a phase 1 study in gynecological cancers later this year. We're still working out the details, but that's our plan. It targets a specific protein, mutated protein from a gene called P53, Why is that important? More than 50% of human cancers will have that mutation. So it's a big deal if it works in people the way it's worked in animals.
It's a big deal if you can stop cancer of any type.
Well, that's true, and I don't want to make any outlandish claims, but the common nature of that particular mutation in the work that we've done suggests that at least 1 in 4 patients with cancer will benefit from this particular therapy. So I don't want to overstate the impact, but I think 1 in 4 is pretty huge.
I think anytime you could stop anything connected to cancer is a positive thing for anybody involved. You don't realize about cancer the impact it has and the tragedy of it unless you or somebody you know is impacted by it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it happens 1.68 million times in the U.S. every year.
Well, the next time we do a show, I hope you come back to join us here in the studio on New to the Street.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
He is Dr. Wayne Danter, the CEO of Critical Outcome Technology. I'm Ken Efseroff, and you're watching New to the Street.